are going to be watching how Minecraft's #1 player got exposed as a total fraud. The deeply unsettling story of Marlow. Well, I do play Minecraft sometimes. I definitely go through Minecraft phases where I play for a month straight. So let's see what's going on.
Money. It makes the world go round, with people willing to do almost anything to get more of it. In
Don't ask me what I would do for 20 bucks.
fact, money is so important that it can dictate how society behaves as a whole. If it paid to be kind, then people would be kind. But if it paid more to be evil, then people would simply turn evil.
I would never be evil. I am the nicest person ever in the entire world, and I have never done anything wrong. Incoming Google Docky.
More specifically, if it paid to fake your gender and fake your skill level to millions of people for years by hacking and cheating, some would willingly choose to do so if it was profitable.
Okay, I know everybody comes to chat and they say, Barry, do you have a wiener? I'm going to let you know now. I do not have a wiener. Can we stop asking?
However, you'd have to be a very special kind of degenerate to do those things, all while planning to publicly fake your own suicide once you were inevitably exposed to be a fraud.
Huh?
Meet Marlow.
Okay, but the skin kind of cute. I love Minecraft skins. They have such a whimsy to them. I don't know how to explain it.
Who for years was considered to be the most skilled player to ever exist in Minecraft PvP.
Nah. I played the game. Just letting you know now.
In parallel to that though, they'd be running a totalitarian regime that would ban and blacklist anyone who doubted or criticized them, throwing all women under the bus by claiming that any and all valid criticisms against them were rooted in misogyny.
What?
This would be the community status quo for far too long.
Guys, you gotta stop calling me funny names. You gotta stop, because you are hurting every woman by saying that. So make sure you clean it up, or you're gonna get
And now finally, after all these years of manipulation, silencing, and bullying of critics, Marlow has finally been exposed to be the ultimate Minecraft fraud who faked everything.
Wait, this is like a Minecraft hack? The only Minecraft hack I really knew about was like X-raying. Like, that's where you can see everything and where it is all the time. I didn't know they had all this.
Even down to their gender, with undeniable proof. And so, seeing how much of an unprecedented disaster this all is, and how confusing it might be to someone who's not part of the Minecraft PvP community,
Yeah, I had no
figured
idea.
we had to talk about it. And so, without further ado...
Oh, that's why I'm here. Because we gotta talk about it. You see?
Let's do this. All right, so if you haven't been living under a rock for the last 2 decades, you probably know what Minecraft is.
Oh, never mind, I know that.
Most people, they recognize it as the sandbox survival game.
I recognize it as a phase because like I said earlier, will play Minecraft for a month straight. Only thing I want to do, only thing I want to talk about. Then after a month, I'm like, okay, I think I'm done. Then maybe like a year later, I'm like, I gotta play Minecraft.
Otherwise known as Minecraft Vanilla. Some others might recognize it differently, modding the game heavily with visual and gameplay enhancements and pretty much making it into an entirely different game.
Cheaters!
However, another sizable chunk of this game's player base will look at it purely from a PvP perspective, going up against other players to prove their skill in numerous game modes.
Isn't there like Bed Wars? I've never played Bed Wars. One time I did Block Wars. I did that. I think we played like some game where you had to smash snow blocks and then throw the snowballs at people. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember that it had like kind of a goofy, silly little cute name.
And for someone who doesn't play PvP at all, this
Spleef! That's what it was, Spleef! We played Spleef!
This is where things get very confusing because these game modes are very different from the gameplay you've come to expect in vanilla or even modded Minecraft. One of these PvP game modes, for example, is called UHC, where both players start with the same exact loadouts, having to use a mix of building, laying things down on the terrain, and also using their weapons and defending all at the same time. Another game mode is called Nethbot, which literally just involves you throwing pots at each other, with many of them having different abilities and effects.
We do that in Florida, but they're filled with drugs.
However, one of the most popular and probably the most confusing game mode for new players is Crystal PvP. Here's some gameplay, and yes, it's totally normal if you have literally no idea what's going on. It mostly involves using a mix of obsidian blocks as well as ender crystals to kill the other player.
Dude, I know you guys aren't gonna believe me, but a long time ago, I did speedrun Minecraft. And I got to the end. But the problem is that you have to do math, so then I quit. You had to like do triangles and stuff with the coordinates, and then I was like, I think I'm done here.
How did people come up with this concept? Well, that's a 1-hour video by itself. The point is, this game has over 200 million monthly active users that play it, and a good chunk of them play only PvP. This is what they focus on. But here's the deal. When you focus on something for so long and want to get better at it, there's a question that starts to pop up in the community.
Am I good?
Who are the best players for each game mode? In fact, who's the best of them all? And seeing that all these servers with all these different game modes are unofficial, they're simply not affiliated with the official game or its developers, most had given up on the idea of coming up with a ranking system. But that would of course be until MCTiers.com would come along.
Ooh.
MCTiers would be a community-driven effort to rank players in all 8 of these different game modes.
I see you, femboy lover 1000.
This would all be done through its PvP server on Minecraft called mcpvp.club. Its founders were mainly 3 people: Enz, Learn, and of course, Marlow. And the way it worked wasn't very simple, actually. In a nutshell though, MCTiers would have a Discord for every single one of these game modes. So Crystal PvP, UHC, Pot, NetOp, etc, etc.
It is kind of fun to chase the high of being the best at something. It definitely felt like that in the speedrunning community. But the greatest thing about the speedrunning community to me is everybody was very helpful. Like, you could ask questions and they'll tell you how to do it, and they'll tell you how they did it, and they'll like explain the strats and stuff. I wonder if Minecraft's like that too. Like, they probably have a very helpful side to the community in Discord as well.
It will be open to anyone. And let's say you wanted to test out your Crystal PvP level, you would join the server, join the waitlist.
Oh, thank you.
Crystal PvP level, you would join the server, join the waitlist, and eventually get tested. And the way it would work wouldn't be MMR based like,
yeah, wait, what does get tested mean? If you're a good Minecraft player, you get 1 line. If you're a bad Minecraft player, you'll get 2 lines.
games similar to Valorant or Overwatch. You would have people in the voice call with you, watching you play and examining your playstyle as you go up against all these different tiers. There'd be 5 of these tiers, tier 5 being the worst and tier 1 being the best. This meant that when it came to this community-driven effort, trust was at its forefront. We were trusting the people examining everyone to do this in a non-biased way and to the best of their ability. But
don't trust anybody. You heard it from me. Trust no one. Not even yourself.
Of course, this also meant that this system had a lot of its critics. When confronted though, the response would always be the same. Do you have any better ideas? No one in the community had come close to making something like this. And in fact, today, if you type on Google Minecraft PvP, the first thing you'll see is MCTiers rankings.
Wow!
View Minecraft's best combat players or participate in the ranked community. To many people in Minecraft's sizable PvP community, this was the official ranking for the best players in the world. Period.
Damn!
And speaking of best players, even though Marlow was one of the co-founders of the website, you'd always manage to see her in the top 3 best players.
Nah. Just honestly, already, if you co-found the website, you should not be able to be ranked. That might be a controversial statement, but like, does it not look like you could just lie? Like, you would just pick somebody who would make you the greatest player of all time. There's just too much going on there. You could be like the greatest moderator, but you shouldn't be able to rank yourself.
Of all time on the leaderboard. This right here is the first version of MCTiers.com, which came out shortly after the pandemic, around the early 2020s. By then, for most people, the player It's Real Me was the best Minecraft PvP player of all time. But Marlow would always be close second. The gap between It's Real Me and Marlow was always very wide to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th players.
Okay, so like basically she is number 1, but kind of not really.
They were always in a league of their own, and there's a reason for that. This overall leaderboard would combine all the 8 game modes together for your overall rank. It's Real Me and Marlow were constantly in the top ranks of every single game mode.
They're rivals. They're like Minecraft beam clashing.
And to make you understand what this means, this is like someone who is a NASCAR driver that also happens to be a rally race car driver and who also happens to be a Formula 1 driver.
Dude! All of the research for all of the racing video videos we've been reacting to has finally come together to Minecraft. What?
All at the same time. Just because you know how to drive a car doesn't mean you can be good at all these things combined. And it's the same thing here. Just because you're good at one of these game modes doesn't mean you're good at all of them. They all require different strategies, keybinds, and an insane, ridiculous learning curve. But both It's Real Me and Marlow made it look easy. They were
I bet when they do the keybinds, they also have like the mice with all of the numbers on the side. But the problem is it's so hard for me and my hag hands to like hit the number and not hit the other ones. And I have to remember, and then I'm thinking, and I'm like, just use the keyboard.
dominating in every single one. But the thing is, to many, Marlow was yet on another level. At some point, she beat one of the best PvPers in Minecraft 100-0.
Damn! Nah, if you got beat 100-0, I would just uninstall. Like, I'm done. I'm going somewhere else. Oh, hell nah.
Yes, they fought together 100 times, and she didn't let him win once.
What? Dude, this is the craziest tournament arc of all time.
Clown Pierce got absolutely destroyed, utterly owned, and it only served to show why Marlow was so close to beating the best player of all time in rankings soon. But the Minecraft PvP community, and as recently as 2025, many were in agreement. The best player of all time in Minecraft PvP is Marlow.
Do you guys ever think that there's so much online and it's hard for you to know everything? Like, this Marlow person was totally goated in the Minecraft PvP community, and I had no idea who they were. Like, everybody was yapping about them and, like, gassing them up, and I literally am learning about them right now.
No argument, no questions asked. This level of skill definitely came with its advantages, with Marlow's YouTube channel reaching over 400,000 subscribers and...
With 17 videos only? Is that not insane? Holy!
Definitely came with its advantages, with Marlow's YouTube channel reaching over 400,000 subscribers and any video they'd upload getting hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million views consistently.
Wow.
Generating substantial revenue and getting their name more and more known within the community. That's without mentioning all the collabs she'd do on YouTube with some very well-renowned YouTubers, always titling the video as, "I fought the best Minecraft player in this," or "I got trained by the world's best Minecraft player."
What a crazy Aura Farm thumbnail. This is like JoJo's going down the stairs and trying to get back up over and over again.
In this. And what's interesting is that these channels weren't necessarily PvP oriented, so you had the casual Minecraft crowd that watch YouTube videos be aware of her existence and her unprecedented skill. And so, to the average bystander, Marlow had essentially made it. They had worked hard to become one of the best players in the world, and now they finally were able to start reaping the benefits. But you'd be mistaken to think that this was all sunshine and rainbows. Marlow had seemingly, for some people, come out of nowhere. And just like that, beaten players that have had so many years of exposure in the community made them look like they were amateurs, like they couldn't even play the game. On top of that, this was a community that had very few women in it. Minecraft PvP is mostly male-oriented.
See, and that's why it's sad when this stuff happens. Like, I felt the same way during the Marvel Rivals drama with the $10 bajillion tournament. Like, now all ladies look bad because, you know, some guy is gonna watch something like that and then think, oh yeah, like I knew it, like of course it was a woman, yada 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 yada. So then this stuff looks kind of bad too, because then they're like, oh yeah, the second best player wasn't even really a woman, yada blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's so annoying, man. I don't know. It's sad.
And in a leaderboard that has very few, if not zero women, you'd see one woman come in and get to second place.
Just like when women drive. Okay, I'm a good driver. I am the best driver in the state of Florida. And I know the competition isn't that great, but I am a great driver.
Trailblazing over everyone else. And so if you've been on the internet for long enough, you'd know that all these things combined, especially with the very chaotic Minecraft community, would lead to one of the most unstable periods in Minecraft PvP history, in which Marlow, at the center of all this, would be subject to massive harassment and criticism.
Jeez, I don't know. Like, that kind of stuff is scary. One thing I would never want to be in the entire world is a main character on Twitter for a day. Anytime I open my app and I see 20 notifications, I'm like, oh god, what did I do?
Follow from that chaos, though, would be Marlow cementing her power like no one could have ever imagined. Dream, a name typically synonymous with cringe or vomit, is a YouTuber who
Oh no. Are we gonna bring up the blaze rods? No, 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 no!
At some point was one of, if not the biggest Minecraft YouTuber of all time. This was during the pandemic, getting over 100 million views on some of his videos, as well as 34 million.
That is crazy too, just to give you guys some, like, I'm sure you know this, but like, look at how long these videos are. 142 million views on a 52-minute video is crazy. Like, this was straight up money, Brenda!
Subscribers would, on June 11th, 2020, claim to have beaten the Minecraft speedrun world record. An incredible feat, but also very divisive. You see, this would lead an unprecedented amount of people to examine every single second of his gameplay and determine that there were some things that simply were too improbable statistically to occur at the same time in the same run. So
Dude, I remember that he basically like upped the odds, and I wish I did that when I speedran Dark Souls, because there's one item that you basically want to get in the beginning of like challenge runs or pretty much anything. It's like the Black Knight Halberd, but it has a really low percentage like drop rate even if you have humanities. And the problem is, since it's a low drop rate, one stream I tried to set up the speedrun for 2 hours and I never got the drop. I wanted to bang my head into the wall over and over and over.
Point where it's almost impossible. It will be centered on some item drop rates that would allow him to finish the game so damn quickly. When confronted with this, Dream would time and time again deny this vehemently, saying that he didn't cheat, it was legit, and even trying to prove that in numerous ways.
Why lie?
In fact, by December 2020, he would get so desperate that he would famously hire a Harvard astrophysicist to write a 20-page report as to why Dream didn't cheat. Yes, it's...
And the table of contents is wild. Nah. Why we got a table of contents when you're supposed to be building a crafting table, man? Come on.
Sounds as ridiculous as you might think, and it actually did happen.
That is crazy.
I still can't believe it to this day. What's most important to point out here is that after this paper and after he tried to disprove it multiple times, his fanatical community, who was extremely big and parasocial at the time, would attack, bully, harass anyone who disagreed. Anyone who'd make a video about this would get bombarded with dislikes, with bad comments. It really set this side of the internet ablaze.
No pun intended.
As a part of the Minecraft community was aware of this. But even so, they didn't let go of this. They weren't going to let him get away with it. And only after a few more months of pressure by the community would Dream finally let go. By May 2021, Dream would write this massively long Twitter post admitting that he cheated, but that he had no idea. He had something installed on his PC, he had forgotten to...
Hell no. Look at how long that is. I mean, you definitely want to hear that, but not in this situation.
...remove it or something, and oh man, it just so happened to be there and I did it. How unfortunate. Cheating accidentally happens to the best of us. Well, I'm sure that when he cheated in February 2026, he did that on accident too. But that's a completely different story. All you need to understand is that Dream has quite an impressive cheating resume, okay? And unfortunately, this says a lot about the community. If the biggest Minecraft YouTuber at the time was able to pull off a cheating scandal, then what the hell is stopping everyone else?
Yeah. I mean, how do you keep up with somebody who's cheating? Like, then you just maybe like feel like you have to cheat too.
Nothing, which is what we've been seeing over the last few years. It feels like every month I see something pop up in my recommended about some guy who cheated and deceived the whole community.
Dude, the craziest cheating ever was that guy who cheated that blindfold. I think it was Mario 64. He had like a blindfold on, but the entire time he could see what was happening behind the blindfold.
This point is part of the Minecraft culture. And so because of that, the community, rightfully so, has a lot of trust issues when it comes to records. Whether it be a speedrun record, a PvP record, a ranking system, you name it. This is a very low trust community when it comes to the competitive scene. So by the time Marlow had become the #1 player of all time in PvP, those same suspicions were being put at the forefront yet again.
Okay, I'm not gonna give advice to cheaters, but listen up. If you're gonna cheat, you can't get 100 on everything. Like, they went 100 to 0. Like, you gotta throw a couple matches to make it like a little more obvious. Or like, if you're cheating on a test, don't go for 100. Like maybe like an 89 or 90. Like don't push it.
Because she hadn't just beaten the best player of all time, which was It's Real Me. She had wiped the floor with him, sitting at 450 points while he was sitting at 330 points. These points signify an accumulation of every single one of these 8 game modes. And Marlow was the only player on planet Earth that had gotten tier 1 in every single one of these game modes.
Crazy.
Have you ever seen someone that is so skilled at driving? They're the best Formula 1 driver, drift car race driver, rally car race driver, NASCAR race driver, just everything. They're the best at everything involving a car? No.
Me. Best yapper, best... I can only think of one word that rhymes with yapper.
Oh, and yet there she was doing it. To some, this was an amazing achievement that needed to be celebrated, especially since she was a...
Oh, best clapper! Thank you. Best rapper? Best crapper? Yeah, I'd be shitting.
Woman, and you don't see many of those in Minecraft PvP, and to others this was extremely suspicious and it didn't necessarily have to do with gender. Well,
the way he said those was kind of funny.
well, actually it kind of did, because many believed that Marlow wasn't even a woman. Some had reason to believe that the person behind Marlow was none other than Danger Mario, a player who already had a bit of a reputation on certain PvP servers. Nah,
if he's got that skin, I am not messing with him.
And who created Marlow as his persona. One of the first people to reveal this to the world would be the YouTuber Zay, uploading a video titled Marlow's True Identity, 3+ Years of Lies on May 10th, 2024. He would go very deep here, finding an old video of Danger Mario that was deleted off of YouTube and comparing his and Marlow's hotbar. And
I don't know why I'm laughing like Santa Claus. I just do that when I'm nervous.
They played very similarly in that regard.
No, that's not the same. He only had like 5 apples. Me as his lawyer trying my best.
He'd also compare their PC specs based on what Marlow said and what Danger Mario had already revealed to the internet. They would turn out to be using the exact same PC coincidentally. Zay would then argue that there's sufficient proof to prove that Danger Mario had used the Marlow account back in 2021 to test whether he'd get banned or not using the Meteor client in one of the PvP servers he was going on,
no.
saying that the Marlow account just so happened to be banned at the same time that Danger Mario had uploaded video talking about the same subject.
It's over.
At the time, Danger Mario used a TTS voice and never revealed his real voice. Look, this video would get a lot of attention because people already had their suspicions, but it would still get a lot of backlash as well. In 2025, someone would come in and type, "This aged like absolute shit." Someone else would say, "All happened because PvPers never heard of women. Bro isn't cooking, skull emoji." And overall, he was seen as a complete madman who was prone to conspiracies and who just hated Marlow because she was a woman. But even though Marlow's community was very loyal and willing to defend her no matter what, it was getting hard to ignore just how skilled Marlow was, to the point where it was almost inhuman. Back in 2024, this was some of her haters' main criticism. And eventually, it would get too big to ignore because one of the co-founders of MCTiers.com, Learn, would also become convinced that Marlow has to be cheating.
Yeah, well, he's gonna learn quick that that was actually right.
There's no way someone can be that good. It's just inhuman. So Marlow's walls were closing in around her. But even though you might think that this just might be the typical case of a cheater in the Minecraft community, where people keep calling them out, they keep denying it, and eventually they get caught, this here was very different. This was not like the
Dream jump scare!
Dream situation. Because unlike Dream, Marlow had a secret weapon. And that weapon was the misogyny shield.
Okay, with this picture, that's wild.
You saw it in some of the comments on the video we just saw. Oh, Minecraft player discovers what a woman is. You're just hating because you're insecure and a woman is top 1 in the game that you play. And I mean, of course, this would be the community's reaction. If a woman just as much says hi in an online game, she gets instantly killed.
Not me. They go, "Are you 10-year-old boy? Go back to school. It's past your bedtime."
Marlow was aware of this, and seeing that she was getting never before seen criticism from the community, she decided to fully double down on this defense, creating a video response titled "My Experience with the Minecraft PvP."
What is that thumbnail? Wait, what?
Community. A 2-hour, 14-minute video going through every piece of criticism ever laid upon her and presenting it with this thumbnail. And I mean, come on, you know, it doesn't take a genius here. It makes it look like she's being assaulted by a mob of angry psychos just because she's a woman. And if you watch the video itself, that's mostly the arguments used here. The video would mostly focus on 2 topics. In Marlow, it's
Yeah, I was just seeing that. Wait, I think that I couldn't tell if that was her pants or her boots. But like, there's definitely some skin in between. That is wild. Oh my God.
that's mostly the arguments used here. The video would mostly focus on 2 topics. In Marlow would speak with, well, a female sounding voice. It would make Learn, one of the co-founders of MCTiers.com, seem like a backstabbing psychopath who had it in for her just because she's a woman.
Holy
the other part of the video would
drama!
focus on the whole idea of totalitarianism, how she silences any critics, and how this whole thing, this whole hoax about how she's actually Danger Mario is nothing more but a carefully engineered lie to smear her. How, according to her, she believes that the Danger Mario account—
See, that's what I was talking about earlier. I knew women weren't good at Minecraft. This is the part that sucks, man. So like, now it turns into this. That's what I meant earlier.
was created and owned by those same haters, how she has nothing to do with it. This video would get over 800,000 views, would be very well received, have a very nice like to dislike ratio, and the comments would be nothing but supportive, reiterating that this is just a game, or saying things like absolutely ridiculous the amount of obstacles you had to go through just because you merely existed. Many were convinced that this wasn't a topic about catfishing or cheating. This was purely insecure men who just couldn't stand seeing a woman be better than them in a game. It made the overall Minecraft community look bad, something that this community truly didn't need, seeing as like every year there's a content creator that comes out to be some sort of child diddler, and it's—
Okay, we just throwing that in there? Just a little sprinkle?
strengthened the misogyny shield defense to unprecedented levels for Marlow. But again, while some were really concerned with the idea that this was a catfish, this wasn't a woman, at the time it overshadowed the main issue, the fact that
Yeah, never ask a Minecraft player to show their notepad.
she's a hacker. The fact that she's not playing legit, she's too good for a human being. This wasn't about gender. But after this video that was released in July 2024, if you went to any Minecraft PvP content creator, even someone who was absolutely destroyed by her, with proof that she's cheating, you get immediately and utterly shut down. Because by that point onwards, if you had anything negative to say about Marlow, you were considered a misogynist in the Minecraft community. You were someone who simply—
See, this is the part that's crazy. Like, how is the Marlow person sitting behind their computer going, like, I would feel so evil for just straight up lying every day and then getting away with it.
hated women. You were an incel because Marlow did nothing wrong. And so, emboldened by this incredible support by the community, a few months later, around the end of 2024, Marlow would release a 17-page Google Doc titled The Future of MCTiers.
Guys, these Google Docs are so long. I remember there was a time period where they were coming out back to back to back, and as a streamer, it felt like required reading.
Here she would reiterate some of the points she raised in her video about Learn being a weirdo and about how the other co-founder, Enz, wasn't agreeing to removing him. This is when she would announce to the world that since she's the one who was paying for the infrastructure of MCTiers, she'd be reclaiming her accounts to become the sole owner of MCTiers.com as well as its Minecraft PvP server. She has successfully convinced the community that these 2 other co-founders were weird and that the website was going to continue, but instead of being co-owned by 3 people, it would be owned by her exclusively.
Jeez.
There was nothing really suspicious or weird to be considered by the wider community at the time. And so, end of 2024 onwards, this would somewhat be the status quo.
Isn't that crazy? So like now she controls the entire narrative. Like there's nobody to go off of at all, and it's just totally whatever she says.
After reaching rank 1, Marlow would retire. MCTiers would still be the top destination for any PvP related rankings, and on the surface it seemed like things were starting to calm down. But they weren't. And to be honest, it's mostly because this tier list is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life.
I miss when Google Docs weren't overran with sweats. It's wild. Dude, this just used to be such a casual Twitlonger community. When did this turn into ranked Google Docies, man?
By this point, both Marlow and It's Real Me would have retired. They're not playing the game anymore. They're not participating in rankings anymore. And yet MCTiers had this weird policy where even retired players get to stay on the overall leaderboard.
What? Dude! They don't even really do that on speedrun.com. They'll even like redo on patches and stuff. That is insane.
Overall active leaderboard. This meant that Marlow was number 1. And since Marlow
Forever?
somehow managed to get tier 1 in every single fucking game mode, it meant that no one on planet Earth could ever hope to get number 1.
That is like such an ego thing. That is crazy.
She had capped the points, 450 points, tier 1 in everything. Even if you were to get tier 1 in everything, you would only cap at 450 points, which makes you second place, and she reached it first. This meant that she had a chokehold on the tier lists for the Minecraft PvP community and on the number 1 spot. Over time, people would start to find this ridiculous, and the criticism would intensify to never before seen levels. However, if you had anything to say about Marlow, her cheating, or her not being an actual woman, you would simply get banned from the MCTiers discords as a whole and blacklisted from the server. This meant that you could never hope to participate in this tier list that is considered to be the official tier list for Minecraft PvP.
Oh my god, so you can't even compete. You basically just have to say she the GOAT or you're banned forever and you can't even play.
And you wouldn't even be able to play on the Minecraft server of MCTiers. Anytime you'd open your mouth to say anything regarding Marlow that's negative, you would simply be banned for being a dirty misogynist incel.
Yeah, you guys better stop calling me stinky or you're gonna get banned from chat forever.
Silencing would go on for almost 2 years, but it would finally
2 years is a long time, man. Okay, who said blah, 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 blah?
reach a boiling point in 2026, when everything that Marlow had built would fall apart within the span of a few weeks, while also revealing to us her extremely disturbing master plan, which involved her purposefully waiting until things do reach a boiling point in order to fake her death on a call with some of the biggest Minecraft content creators you can imagine.
Nah, is that not insane? What the hell? I'm the Phantom of the Minecraft Opera. Don't ever let me sing again.
The Minecraft PvP community would reach a boiling point around January 2026. Around this time, a handful of different YouTubers would release their own videos exposing Marlow, whether it be deception about the fact that she's a woman, or straight up talking about how she's a hacker, she's a cheater, and she's not actually that good at the game, providing as much proof as possible.
Also, I would like to say Mujin's recommended is so cooked. I'll move my big fat head so you can see, but like he's been researching for this video so much. Wait. Look at that. It's all just her face over and over and over and over again. Oh.
Based on the gameplay we were given. As far as I can tell, this would all start on January 10th, 2026, when the YouTuber Critically would upload the video titled The Art of Deception, Marlow, in which he'd argue that Marlow's moves were physically impossible, but also that her gameplay was simply inconsistent. He'd make multiple gameplay-specific arguments as to how Marlow's gameplay simply didn't make sense unless she was hacking.
Yeah.
Going up against someone using hacks himself to prove that her moveset was the same exact thing. It was just how a hacker would play. When he would bring any ounce of criticism up in the server, well, he'd get banned for destructive behavior. So now he has no access to MCTiers and can't participate in the tier list.
Happy New Year to you too! Bono?
Unlike the videos released in
Oh, he got banned.
2024, this one would be received pretty well, with many agreeing. 6 days later, on January 16th, 2026, the YouTuber Mario Kart 617 would release a video titled The Curious Case of Marlow, in which he'd also argue, using some of the same arguments, that Marlow is simply not legitimate. There are some very obvious signs of aimbotting, as well as just straight up hacking.
That's why I told you, cheat better. Like, don't make it so obvious.
And all these videos had one thing in common, making the point that the referee shouldn't be a part of the competition.
True.
Marlow, being in such a position of power, allowed her to get away with this for a long time.
That's what I said earlier. Dude, I will say for refs, though, I mentioned this on stream the other day. I like watching basketball, and I hate when the basketball players go up to the refs and just start yelling at them. Like, they should not be allowed to do that. Anyways, that was a weird tangent. Let's keep going.
Without anyone being able to do anything about it, because she owned the tier list. So as you can see, these videos were coming out fairly frequently in January, and unlike back in 2024, they weren't being received as like conspiracy theorists, because these people weren't focusing on the fact that Marlow wasn't a woman. They were focusing on the fact that Marlow was cheating, regardless of gender. And even though Marlow was running her Discord like a totalitarian dictator, banning pretty much anyone with anything negative to say, these accusations of cheating would start to take hold in a very serious way in the community, to the point where even she couldn't ignore it.
I have never cheated on a test, by the way. I know you're all gonna type sure, I already see it in my head, but I I took every test with integrity. Never did I cheat. And I was #1 in my class. Okay, that was lying. See, it would have been more believable if I said like maybe top 10%. Don't ever say you're #1 is a lie.
In her little Totalitarian Discord, she had to make some sort of response. And eventually, she did. On January 23rd, 2026, Marlow would upload the video titled "Hacking is Bad," sitting at over 1 million views.
Wow.
Starting it off with some text on the screen.
For years, I have been accused of hacking, boosting, and other forms of anti-competitive behavior.
Saying, for years...
Oh, sorry, I'm not used to people reading stuff on the screen, so I felt like I had to.
I've been accused of hacking, boosting, and other forms of anti-competitive behavior.
That's what I said.
Throughout the community, for years, people have used my name, skin, etc. in order to attempt to increase views.
Whoa! Wait. She's saying that people were pretending to be her and then hacking and then recording it and saying that that was her hacking? What?
In recent times, this has been detrimental. A domino effect has led people to rapidly producing content claiming I hack. It certainly does get clicks.
I mean, you would know.
I will be proving my legitimacy in a public manner, as it's the only way to make it properly accessible to outsiders coming across slander. So for this, Marlow would show a hand cam of her mouse. That's it. No keyboard. She'd use some excuse about needing to use a keyboard tray, right? But you can't even see the keyboard.
Well, I mean, honestly, every time I play games, I put the keyboard on the floor and I play with my feet. So I got nice ambidextrous feet. What the word I'm thinking of? Let's not talk about my feet.
Which is funny, because some of the main accusations were relating to the hotbar and how quickly she switched between items that wasn't humanly possible. But anyway, she would show a hand cam, and to the many people watching this, who also happened to watch the other instances in which she destroyed pro players, they
Nah, was that little twirl right there?
who also happened to watch the other instances in which she destroyed
Oh, he was trying to get out of out of the spider web. I thought he was just hitting a 360 Minecraft no scope.
pro players, they could see something very interesting. The fact that she was extremely slow. Okay, this was nothing compared to the gameplay we had seen of Marlow previously. This was not the same Marlow that beat Clown 100-0. You know why? Because this actually looked like a human being playing. Those other clips weren't.
Yeah.
Marlow would also show this all happen on a brand new laptop, trying to prove that they were
Yeah, but what was your first pet's name? And your mother's maiden name? And the funny numbers on the back of your credit card, now that we're here.
no hacks involved whatsoever, and then would go on to show the entire PC, right? A forensic screenshot. That's the majority of the video. That's like 1 hour, 40 minutes of the video. It's safe to say that most people didn't really watch this. But the point that Marlow was trying to make here is that no, there are no hacks on my PC, and my gameplay is actually legit, but it actually would backfire very hard. This was just another dream hiring an astrophysicist scenario. Marlow had carefully thought out the initial video that she had made back in 2024, making herself out to be a victim being attacked by the Minecraft community for being a woman. But this was different. This felt like she was digging herself deeper into a hole that she had created. That's because her answers to the many questions the community had only ended up raising even more questions. Why are you hiding your keyboard? Why is your gameplay so different? Why are you so slow? Something just wasn't adding up. So barely a week after uploading this video, as more and more people start to ask,
hey everyone, I'm making this announcement that I'll be transferring ownership to MCTiers and leaving all of my related staff positions. Ownership will be transferred to Ryrie, who was also known as long-term staff member and contributor to the project over time. Has become completed. The bitterness towards my position has grown to the point where it is now actively detracts from the community itself. I believe that my presence is no longer ideal for the health and stability of the community.
Questions, and as certain content creators also started to ask these questions, Marlow would make this statement in her Discord server, saying, hey everyone, I'm making this post to announce that I will be transferring ownership.
I'm so sorry. I just thought he wasn't gonna read it. I'm sorry. But let's be real. I literally read that in 2 seconds, so what did it matter? Also, that is a Marlow and me ass profile picture.
Of MCTiers and leaving all of my related staff positions. Ownership will be transferred to Ryrie, who as many of you know has been a long-term staff member and contributor to the project. Over time, it has become clear that the bitterness towards my position has grown to a point where it now actively detracts from the community itself. I believe that my presence is no longer ideal for the health and stability of the community, and that transferring ownership is circumstantially necessary. I would like to make something clear though. I reject the claims of corruption, theft, and abuse that have been made against me as an owner, and my decision to transfer ownership does not serve as a concession to being guilty of these claims.
Okay.
Despite leaving, I will not allow my previous reputation as an owner to be tarnished. I intend to release an extensive video covering and conclusively debunking these claims.
If you talk bad about me, you're going to jail. I was trying to think of what else to say.
In fact, it's among my top priorities at the moment. And due to the totality of the claims being made, it will take some time to complete. On a personal level, this is a deeply disappointing decision for me to make. I've invested an enormous amount of time, effort, and care into building this community throughout the many years that I've been a part of it, and it feels as if my effort has been repeatedly met with hatred and vitriol along the way. I still intend to remain part of the competitive scene. Competing has always been one of the core reasons I have been as immersed in the game as I am. And
Nah. I think what Farbooty said earlier was true. We need like a Guinness World Records book person there, just like watching. Yeah, you can compete as long as you have somebody watching you the entire time.
Not yet finished fulfilling my ambitions. I believe people will also get to see once more that my success as a player was never a result of any stat position I held, but rather was the result of my mindset and dedication towards becoming a better player. Something that I want to note is that I have been largely offline on Discord. I have signed in out of necessity to make this post, and
I am always on Do Not Disturb because I hate the noise from Discord.
my absence will remain the case for the foreseeable future while I focus on what's in front of me. I hope that Rai and all the other supporting staff members will have a positive experience with the community moving forward. At this point, the community...
If you are typing a message this long in Discord, you are cooked!
...was split. On one hand, they felt shame that they were part of a community that bullied a woman so endlessly that she had to leave, and they wanted their revenge. On the other hand, people saw this as an admission of guilt, as someone trying to run away, not that they were caught, not wanting to admit that they are a fraud. In the end though, Marlow had chosen to leave, and with her, many others would follow, including Flowtives, a well-known player in the community who had previously defended Marlow against the hate and vitriol she had received, that now said he believes she's cheating. Additionally saying that he's very frustrated with the tier list system because almost like 40% of the top 200 players are just hackers in his opinion. Things felt like they were completely falling apart, but this was just the beginning. This was nothing compared to what would happen next.
There's
On
more?
February 12th, 2026, the YouTuber Refwan would release a video titled Marlow, the biggest cheater in Minecraft history.
If I logged in and I saw that about me, I would just never go on YouTube ever again.
Here, we'd get some of the most detailed analysis on the internet when it came to why and how Marlow cheats, going frame by frame to show that it's physically impossible as to how fast Marlow would switch items on the hotbar. The only way to do so is hacking. That's literally how it looks when you hack, as well as going deep inside the math of it all.
They'll always get you with the math, like especially with the Minecraft stuff. They'll always be like, well, there's like a 1% odd that they would ever have all this. Do not cheat in Minecraft. We just need to learn this now. It's not worth it. They've got like Minecraft scientists up in that shit.
Would really analyze all sides as well, trying to view this from different viewpoints. Okay, what if she's innocent? Then that means this happened. Well, if she's not innocent, that means this happened. Additionally, he'd reach out to some of the
I love funny kitty cats.
top players in the community, as well as people who are specialists when it comes to Minecraft hacks. Not a single person sided with Marlow. And this to many was enough proof. She's 100% cheating. There's no arguing about it anymore. People are finally not scared to talk about it. But again, you'd be mistaken to think that this is where things ended. Because now that people understood that Marlow was hacking, next...
Jeez, look at that too. Answer this with a yes or no. As a Minecraft cheat dev, do you think Marlow is cheating? Yes or no? Yes. Yo, answer this with yes or no. As a Minecraft dev, do you think Marlow is cheating? Yes. Damn! Bodied with one word!
Mistaken to think that this is where things ended. Because now that people understood that Marlow was hacking, next up came the accusation that was already shut down a couple years ago for sexism, which was the fact that Marlow wasn't even Marlow. It was a man that was pretending to be a woman. On March 15th, 2026, the same YouTuber, Refwan, would upload another video titled The Marlow Interview featuring Danger Marlow. In this video, Refwan would get into a call with Marlow and ask her to prove that she's a woman by saying some very simple words, nothing crazy.
Okay.
So Marlow took the bait, thinking that this was going to be simple. But Refwan had carefully planned this out. But before we get into this, you have to understand how Marlow's real voice sounded, the one that was shown in her previous videos. Listen.
To lay the red carpet for a new prospect to replace me by exiling me from the community. Well, To most people, this video seemed like it was
You could just hire somebody and give them like $9 more billion and then say like, hey, just don't ever say you did the script work. Or you could have AI now, which is wild. Or you could have like TTS. Yeah.
intended to service the
So this was how she sounded in her 2024 video in which she accused the community of dogpiling her. Now,
Hey guys, I want to apologize to you for the last 300 videos. I've been using this voice changer. Peace.
listen to how she sounds on the call with Refwan when he would ask her to say some very simple words. Cat, key, cow, cake, cookie, kick, coke.
Wait, they all start with k. Is there like a thing with AI voice where it can't go k?
cat, key, cow, cake, cookie, kick, coke. Can you sing a song for me? I'm not gonna sing a song for you.
Honestly, I would deny that too. I'm actually saving your ears. You don't want me to sing nothing.
So look, it sounded very robotic, suspiciously so. He would then ask her to sing a song. She doesn't want to sing a song. Okay,
I wouldn't
fine.
either.
He would then ask her a very simple request. The final request. Please, just say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do with
Beautiful.
the proper pitch, right? Like not do, re, mi, fa. No, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do.
He flexed his beautiful voice twice.
So yeah, watch what
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, 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 ra, mi, fa, di, di, da, ba.
happens.
Okay, okay, just say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You don't have to sing it, just change pitch. That's it.
She's nowhere to be found. She's still online, on the phone, nowhere to be found.
I gotta go walk my goldfish. Sorry about that.
Can't even say the simple sentence, right? Like a 5-year-old can do this.
Type in.
Is that a
Say
robot?
the simple sentence, right? Like a 5-year-old can do this.
the message.
After 1 minute and 13 seconds of pure silence, Marlow would disconnect and then would conveniently say that the power cut out in
Oh, and maybe she was also getting a big glass of WD-40. My favorite.
her state. Yeah, how convenient. Things were now looking horrendously bad for Marlow. Not only were people convinced that she was a straight-up hacker, but now it was about the fact that she wasn't even a woman. In fact, he was pretending to be a woman this whole time. But why? To what end? What's the goal here? Who is this Danger Mario, and what the hell does he want from this community? What was the plan? Well, after this video from Refwan, we would find out, and it would be way more disturbing than any of us could have ever imagined.
We know?
On March 18th, 2025, the YouTuber Aximity would upload a video titled Marlow's True Identity, in which he claims that someone close to Danger Mario who knew him would join his Discord claiming he had text messages dating back all the way to 2023 that would expose him for who he truly was and his entire plan involving Marlow. So these two would communicate on the messaging app.
Dude, if you have an evil plan, like, don't put it out in writing. Like, that's gonna be step number 1, man.
Known as Telegram. And this leaker with messages dating back to 2023 would be referring to this other person as Danger, aka Danger Mario, the person accused of being behind the control of Marlow. Back in December 2023, we could see the plans that Danger Mario was having for Marlow, saying, but next year I'm going to hard grind YouTube and commentate content by cloning an AI voice impression of Marlow. I'll rack up a bunch of subs and become pretty well known, then I might open up a large-scale Minecraft server as they are extremely
Holy money printer!
profitable. I have a Discord server full of social media influencers and server admins, and I'm going to use that to fully prepare the blacklist.
How did you write all the steps down, man? Are you serious? Well, first I'm gonna go to the store. Then after I'm done getting all my equipment, I'm gonna go to the bank. Then I'm going to say, put the money in the bag.
Which is basically a list of players that have been known for malicious activity like swatting, grooming, doxing, etc. I'll be able to gain camaraderie with a lot of relevant servers and influencers simply by running something so community-oriented. Hell, in 2024, Danger Mario would send the leaker an image. In it, we can see Discord messages And more importantly, in the yellow highlighted text, we can see Marlow being either replied to or pinged. This only happens when you're the person being pinged or being replied to. So he's right here showing that he's actually Marlow. This leaker was someone who definitely was very trusted by Danger Mario. Back in 2024, as Marlow was getting a lot of backlash and needed to address the community in some way, Danger Mario would write these statements and then send them to this leaker to ask his opinion. And one of the most interesting
That's AI. That's AI.
things in these text messages would be how in January 26, 2024, Danger Mario would already be pre-planning to release the infamous video known as My Experience with the Minecraft PvP Community on July 2024. He would, in his own words, say, "Indeed, this next vid is going to be about the community. It'll be really good for sparking drama and people sympathize."
He should have known to shut the hell up as soon as the only reply to that was nice. You should have known this was gonna be a bad situation.
Should redirect the haters and gain tons of support. The leaker would say, "Nice thumbnail. Yeah, that'll definitely spark drama." To which Danger Mario would say, "I might be able to attain full ownership of the tier list in doing this," showing that this was the plan all along. Additionally, in these messages, we'd see Danger Mario sending this leaker an image of the hacks that he's using.
You gotta be kidding me. Just all of the evidence.
It was an add-on to the client that he was using, the Meteor client. The reason why it went undetected for so long was because there was only one version of this. It was coded by someone named SNQ, purely just for Danger Mario. You'd also understand why Marlow sounded so weird in Refuan's video. That's because he'd be planning ever since January 2024.
Then says how he made the voice. I'm going to generate an AI clone of me talking in the Marlow voice.
To generate an AI clone of himself talking in the Marlow voice.
Are you
Apparently,
serious?
Danger Mario had a pretty good effeminate voice. The guy had a high-pitched voice, I guess, and would want to train an AI to speak like him, and he would actually start using it for videos. This is when the leaker would link a video of a collab between Marlow and someone else, I guess, and would say, "Was this the AI voice? It's pretty good." To which Marlow would say, or I guess, yeah, Danger Mario would say, "No, that was not good enough for me. I did that like 1.5 years ago and he uploaded it late. It bothered me. Next vid will be a lot more legit sounding."
Okay.
And so of course, when it comes to these text messages,
there is no way this dude laid it all out like a damn Scooby-Doo villain. He did! Isn't that nuts? Like Scooby-Dooby-Doo, you're banned from playing Minecraft. I couldn't think of what rhymed with do.
some people would say that it's probably too convenient, right? This really features everything here. Well, Ximity didn't just upload this video without doing any research or really looking into this. He'd go above and beyond and would attach every single bit of proof this leaker had about Danger Mario in a Google Drive.
We upgraded from Google Docies to Google Drives.
We'd even see a video of the leaker himself opening Telegram on his phone to show that all of these messages are legit. They're not made up, they're not photoshopped, they're not fake. This is exactly why the final part of this video is so damn disturbing. Genuinely, in all my time looking at like content creator drama, I've never seen something so disgusting, so audacious. In messages with the leaker as early as December 2023.
What the hell? This is crazy. Why would you also type this many messages in a row explaining all this?
Danger Mario would understand that eventually this whole Marlow persona will be exposed. This is when he'd come up with what he'd call the peer plot, saying,
"What?
I'm going to fake Marlow's death by jumping off of a bridge with the camera facing the other way. I'll do it in a group with Marlow's closest friends and a few influencers."
Wait, he wants them to vlog it?
But before that, I'm going to spread false allegations about her from an alt, which I have already received staff positions on.
What?
Grooming allegations. I've already built up the realism in Marlow committing suicide and vent conversations to her friends. Anyways, the grooming allegation video is more of a spark because I know the community is going to freak out over it. I'll have fully faked evidence and it will look legit.
Holy. Dude, and I put this up. Damn, that's gonna be sad. Bro did not read all that.
I think starting the Minecraft server will be pretty smart though. First, there are some people I want to help as well that I know as Marlow, so I need to attain some kind of financial success as well. Hyde thinks it's probably a poor decision to do the peer plot, but my
This is insane. Like all this over Minecraft?
concern is that I know that this won't last forever.
This has got to be illegal,
So I
yeah.
have to be able to do something like this before it ends, then I'll be successful in my goal. He'd even go as far as to say that if people would find out that the whole suicide attempt was fake, they'll just reverse it later, saying that he was in a mental hospital for months. It's just absolutely
What?
disgusting. It's mind-boggling that someone like this was able to get away with this for this long, all while throwing an entire gender under the bus. And for what? Some money? Some fame? Really? This is how
Yeah.
far you'd go just to get that? Let's not forget that Marlow was an inspiration for a lot of female gamers. This
Aw.
person, or at this point, persona, had a lot of fans, both male and female. People who had bothered to defend her, people who had bothered to be there for her in her most vulnerable moments.
I would be so mad if I was defending her in the comment section and all this came out, man. That would straight up pee me off.
This would have traumatized so many people, and this dude's over here talking about it casually like he's about to go for boba tea on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, this day
Like, that would be super traumatizing. Like, a lot of the Minecraft community is very young. So that would be devastating to them.
Danger Mario guy is ridiculous. At some point, he'd be working with someone in order to make the MCTiers website, right? This was meant to be a joint venture. They were meant to work together. This meant that the person who made the website trusted Marlow, or Danger Mario. It's the same person. Well, Danger Mario would just simply steal the entire website without really paying this person or even working with them like the promise was. And that's actually how the current MCTiers website would exist. This whole design was stolen by Marlow. The person who got scammed had to make an entirely different website on their own, and it's called pvptiers.com.
So how much money did he make in all of this? Okay, let's just be some, like, sleuths for a little bit. The YouTube channel had a lot of subs, and a lot of those videos, some of them were like 2 hours long, with like 1 million views. So that's money, Printa. Then I'm thinking maybe if they had advertisements on the leaderboard website, that's a lot of money too if everybody in the entire community uses it. And they were the sole owner for a select period of time, which means they were making all the ad revenue. Like, yeah, at least $3.50.
Which is now a competitor to MCTiers.com, but still not as popular. And I think the most ironic thing in all this is that Aximity had actually made a video about Marlow almost a year ago, back in 2024. But he got harassed so badly by Marlow's community, called a sexist, an incel, misogynist, etc.
Wow,
that he
that would
ended
make
up
me
having
so
to delete
mad.
his entire channel. But there he is, back, and this time fully vindicated. To say that this
Wow.
absolutely shattered the Minecraft PvP community would be an understatement. This was an unprecedented earthquake, and now the memes that have come out of this are endless. One of my favorites is how Marlow was able to get tier 1 in everything except singing Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Si Do. But of course, the main question was, now that this is all out, what did Marlow have to say about it? What was Marlow's response? She, or now he, was always there when controversy would get this big, was always willing to respond. And even though most people would have expected Marlow to completely disappear after this, surprisingly, they would send a message in Discord to everyone.
Super weird to me that Marlow is an anagram of moral. Moral W. But this was a moral L.
On March 18th, 2026, in which they would say, at everyone, "Hi, I want to provide you all with a proper explanation for everything that is currently going on. I'm generally reserved when it comes to addressing allegations since I feel like it's best to do it in video form, but this controversy has reached a point where I can't not say anything. Increasingly, this has blown up to the point where havoc is being wreaked upon my reputation, my friendships, and my mental health. As most of you probably know, over the course of the year, I have been receiving
Barry, why didn't you read this one? Because I trusted him.
cheating allegations. Over time, these allegations shifted from cheating into something more personal. For a long time now, I have been working on an extensive video to debunk the allegations being brought against me. The video has taken up countless hours of work and is already over 2 hours long. It would be already out by now, but every day more allegations come. It is challenging to keep up with the quantity and scope of new, relevant videos and allegations to cover.
Nah, man, too many people hate me. Like, I can't address everything.
I'm going to have to draw the line for how much I can include in this video. I will be finishing up everything I have already currently planned to include, and will be publishing the video as soon as I am able to. Due to the new serious allegations that have come out, I will have to create another video after the release of my next one.
Does this this not read as like, I'm gonna get my paycheck for the last 3 times?
My upcoming video will provide a large amount of insight into many of the claims being made. It is important that I address everything, hence the need for another afterwards.
Yeah,
Recently,
yeah.
allegations surrounding the player Danger Mario have resurfaced, and all the subsequent allegations that come as a result. The driving factor behind all of this is the quantity of the supporting evidence. My belief is that anyone who is judging the situation this way is unaware of the extent of impersonation that this player, as well as his surrounding group of friends, have gone to in order to ruin me. I've already made a video which included this in extreme detail. See section Totalitarianism in my experience with the Minecraft PvP community.
What?
The most compelling part of the evidence being used against me is the fact that it has instances of conversations and personal details discussed about me within it. My ADHD as an example. In my full debunk video, I'll be addressing the
No.
origins of how these things were obtained, as well as what is actually going on throughout the situation. It's important that I reiterate, people claiming to be me does not mean that they are me. I understand that the scale of the evidence might appear significant, but it must be remembered that this is the same group of people that are willing to create an entire 2B2T YouTube series in an attempt to lure me into getting further conned. I strongly advise people refamiliarize themselves with what was covered in my old video, as it demonstrates the persistent pattern of behavior that serves as the foundation for everything happening today.
That's what I said earlier. Like, this is literally, I'm gonna make my money before I can't anymore. So I'm gonna do at least 2 videos, director's cut, extended edition, quadruple 9 million ads, and I hope you watch. Thank you.
Now look, I know what you might be thinking. How did she exactly disprove the fact that she's Danger Mario in this 2-hour, 14-minute video? Well, yes, it would be in the section Totalitarianism, and it would mostly focus on a few interesting individuals that wouldn't stop harassing her about the fact that she's Danger Mario. These
Okay.
people would inconsistently accuse Marlow of being Danger Mario, while also saying that they used to know Danger Mario on the Anarchy server that he used to play on back in 2021. Marlow would claim that this is harassment and that what they were saying was inconsistent, but the problem was that this felt like Marlow was purely focusing on these people because it was easy to
Yeah, this is like easy farms. Like, just farm somebody with a dumb standpoint that you think that you can take down instead of like talking to the people who have actual evidence and criticisms.
focus on them. It was easy to make them look bad because they
Yeah.
didn't seem to be the most mentally stable individuals, and that worked at the time. But right now, this is all outdated. These text messages that were leaked from Telegram are completely different from this. You can't fake dates on Telegram. If something was sent in 2023, it was sent in 2023, and we have proof. The person opened Telegram and showed us. It's not photoshopped, it's not edited. How would Marlow explain that a screenshot was sent from someone who's being referred to as Danger, in which he was being pinged on the Marlow account? It just
This is how I would do it. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see that. What?
doesn't make sense. It's very easy to tell people, oh, go watch this 2-hour video that I know you won't even watch to prove that I'm innocent, but in reality, these Telegram messages pretty much debunk everything. In the end though, Marlow seems to care more about the fact that people are exposing that, well, he's a man, compared to the fact that he's a cheater. The evidence and the proof are simply overwhelming. This is not real gameplay, this is not real skill, and this has nothing to do with whether this is a man or a woman. But it was Danger Mario himself, or Marlow, or whatever you want to call this person, that very conveniently used the fact that they were a woman to deflect any criticism, throwing an entire gender under the bus. At the same time, the
Why would you do this to me? Nah, I gotta be the #1 Minecraft player now.
master plan of faking their death in order to run away from having to take responsibility for being a fraud is peak degenerate behavior. And you know what's crazy? Throughout my research, I saw people who didn't even play Minecraft PvP defending Marlow, right? Because they just happened to be a woman, or they just happened to be someone who wanted to stand up for women's rights, and saw people bullying Marlow thinking that it's simply because a woman happened to be good at a game and was being bullied for it because
I don't know, with like how devious those messages were about like faking everything and like trying to start a channel up, I really think they just chose to have like a girl, I guess, profile and like girl account because they thought that it would be easier to farm that way. Because then people are like, oh my God, you're the greatest girl of all time. Like, I want to support you. It's like easier to rally a bunch of people who like you when you're like an outlier in a community. So I think they just saw that as the moneymaker, and that's why they did it.
because of insecure men. The person behind Marlow planning to do something like this is the biggest form of insult for anyone who's dealing with mental health issues, and even content creators who went through the same thing and actually went with taking their own life. One example that comes to my mind is Etika, and it's just disgusting that someone like this would want to attempt to recreate that, all just to get away from the responsibility of something they created. Look, usually I wait for someone's response, but I doubt that Marlow's response is going to be adequate. I doubt that it's going to be any different from the last video they made.
I mean, how do you have a response to those screenshots? Like, that was damning.
This is just another dream situation where we have so much proof that they're cheating, and while they can try to yap and talk for 2 to 3 hours about it,
Now who would yap for 2 to 3 hours? Wouldn't be me.
nothing is gonna change. In fact, the more you talk about it, the more you'll seem suspicious, because why do you need to explain so much? The community has
Yeah.
already made up its mind, and even
Yeah.
people who used to call others misogynistic for calling out Marlow are now siding with them.
Aw, did they say sorry at least? Probably not.
This was never about gender, and it shouldn't ever be about gender. This is about someone who took over an entire community illegitimately in the most manipulative way possible. And if there's anything for you to learn from this, it's to never defend content creators blindly. Look at all the different
True.
perspectives and then make up your mind. Otherwise, you'll be
Yeah.
severely disappointed like many of the people who gave everything for
Okay, why did you say it like that? Marlow is a man. I spent months defending a man.
Marlow, now feeling like idiots. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see 2 exclusive videos where I yap uploaded every month, as well as a lot of high quality
cool
art.
art.
Character, then make sure to check out my stacked page in the description and the pinned comment. Prices start at $1. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Love you, platonically. Mwah.
Wait, but then he gave me a kiss. I'm confused. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. Come by the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/BerryCrepe, and use code Berry and try the AFK Gamer subs. Free sample is free. Why not? Help me out. I help you sleep. It's gonna work out good. Have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.